Hey everyone, welcome back. Another video here. We are going to be moving on from the home page. Congrats to anyone that's been hanging out this far. I guess anyone that's joining for the first time, welcome. We are designing this Lotus Yoga app, and today we're going to be getting into this classes page. So let's take a look kind of like what's going on with this page. As we can see at the top, there are a couple categories: weight loss, sleep, women, flexibility, meditation. And then below that, when it loads, there is just a list of different videos that yoga videos, yoga classes that you could take. So that's what we're going to be designing today in this video using our no-code tool Bubble. And to look at where we kind of left things off, yep, homepage, pretty good. Set up to play a video that can be expanded out to full screen as needed. And moving on to the classes page. Oh, one thing I wanted to share for those who are following along or building out your own app, your own app in over in Bubble. There was something that we did previously that helped these tiles or cards, slider things load. So if we look at like this one, see, notice, okay, here, it took a second for that picture to load. See some of these ones down here. Yep, waiting for those pictures to load. So one of the things I forgot to do in the previous videos, we'll just take about a few seconds to grab this repeating group attribute ID. This thing, just going to copy that because in this repeating group, we want that also to be down in, just make sure I'm grabbing the right elements on the screen here. This horizontal repeating group, so down in this ID attribute thing here, pop that in. Same with the vertical repeating group, pop that in so that it, goes in and preloads some of those. And then if we take a look back here, it's just a special little thingamajob. It's the official name. Also, I'm going to take this HTML element, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go over to our classes group, and I'm going to paste it. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to remove this. I want to get this out of the home group. What shall I do? I'll move the home group down, move this up, and then move the home group back up. Okay, so if you see what that did on the left-hand side here, this HTML element is now outside of the home group. That's what I want because I don't want to load like 5 of these for every page, or sorry, every page. Basically, I mean, these are groups, these are pages. This is how some of the lingo is overlapping here, but because we'll want to use that on our next classes group as well. So I'm just going to take a look here at the preload after moving that around, and then we'll be off to the races and designing the classes. Did I mess something up with this bottom menu? Yeah, for sure I did. You know what? Maybe I do not want to do that. So notice I can hit this back button up here and kind of handle some business of getting me back to where it was. Maybe I do have to copy that over. Let me just double check then. This vertical repeating group, horizontal repeating group, and then we'll be on our way. All right, yes, so that has the ID attribute tied to it. that's tied to that script. Okay, I went back too far. So if I hit forward, yeah, okay. So that now I know where I am in my workflow. Okay, so I am going to copy this. There might be somebody that could point out there could have been a different way to do this without having to repeat this, but there's many ways to skin a cat. If anyone has ever done that before, that phrase has got to be really old because I don't really know who does those things. Okay, let's take a look just to check out how our preloading is doing and see what we got. Yeah, the menu's back to normal. Yeah, when we load over, image is pretty good. Still a little slow. It could just be that the whole thing is, is still loading. But generally speaking, a little bit faster than before. Okay, cool. So let's jump into this group. Give it a 320. Take away this green. We've already got our conditional stuff set up on here, so our navigation works really nice. Pull this on down to full length. And what else do we want to have happen here? We would like for it to look good on an iPad. And yes, collapse it when hidden. Perfect. Cool. So we're set up with this. Now, we'll also want to, just so it's not super jumpy for people, what is this? Go 70 for a nice round number. So 70 is where that starts. I don't need to copy that one. I just need the logo. Because if we look at this one here, we notice that the logo is still there in the same spot. So I want to get this over in the same spot, which is here. Should be 20s. Yep, 20, 20, 20. And just to center horizontally for good responsiveness. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay, so this other text picks for you was 70 down. So we're going to put then our next element of these category selectors, filters at that same height as well. So let's think about this. What do we have for our classes? We've got, for our categories, we're only going to work with these ones. We got vinyasa, we've got verticals. I think I might have changed one of these this is take two of this video. There's some rough spots. Wanted to just make sure that I just, provide, just kind of a straight path here on these videos now that we, wind our way too far into the weeds. So that is just to say I made a slight update on one of these. I think it was a different value or different category name. Now that it's vinyasa, we have vertical, we have beach, we have acro yoga. So with those, we are going to want to lay those out across the top here. And the way that I'm going to accomplish that is I've thought about this quite a bit. If there was a way to, take a repeating group and have it horizontally scroll over, kind of like these ones, because that is basically how this works. If we look back at this video that gives the overview, so see here we're on sleep, flexibility. Yeah, see that scroll movement there up top. We want to kind of imitate that as best as we can. And the best way I found to do that is to create a new data type. It's a little bit manual, but this is yoga app. This is not a big app. I was thinking that there's something worth explaining here. category, create. We're going to give it a field. Well, the name of the category is just a text. And let's see, what do we got? No, we're going to, it automatically applied some privacy rules. We'll get into that in a different video and just take those away. Otherwise, we can't see what we're dealing with when we design things. Okay, so I want to get into the categories. I want to create some of these. The name, Vinyasa. We got Vinyasa. We got vertical. Yes, got it. Beach. It's beach. And what was the other one? Acro yoga. Okay, so we've got some categories. We can display those now across the top. And yeah, so there's a possibly a more elegant way to do this where these categories already exist over here, and where we could go and we could search out with some conditional things, and we could evaluate, okay, have we seen acro yoga yet? Okay, we haven't. So take that one and put it in there, and then go to the next one. Oh, that's acro yoga too. Oh, but we already have acro yoga in our list of filters. So move on to the next one, and then go on, and then it goes on to the beach. And then we could programmatically put something like that together. But the reason why I'm explaining this is like that. This is how programming is done. If you were going to build an app like something very large with like dozens or hundreds or thousands of categories or something like that, you would want something to kind of handle that heavy labor for you. But because we're dealing with, probably under 20 categories, if we were to build their exact app, then that's something that we can just manage manually. And it's actually, there are trade-offs, right, to both ways. So there are elegant solutions that kind of take a lot of upfront time, but then they serve you for, a very long time after that. That is why software is a very powerful thing. And that's why tech companies are very powerful companies, built upon leveraging those types of things. But in this case, I'm kind of going on and on about this, but I'm just making a point that there are trade-offs of ways to do things. The way that we are doing it is we are defining some categories. Now let's bring those onto the page. 280. Go to center horizontally. And what else? So the type of data we want is yoga category. We would like to search for all the yoga categories. So what this does is just anything that exists in that as a yoga category, which is only 4 things, it's going to display these out in this repeating group. And we'll see how many columns we want. We'll see what's up. I want to try and because this is interesting, because the recommended is much bigger than all as a button. So I want to try and mimic that. How I'm going to do that is start with a button. We're just going to get some things onto the page, see what we got working with. So we want that category's name to show up. I'm going to go to classes, and reload. So we should see 2, the vinyasa, vertical, beach, and acro yoga. Looks like it's reverse alphabetic. Probably makes the most sense to go alphabetic, which to do that, we go on this level of this data source. We say go, and you look for these things, sort by the name, and then sort descending, ascending. I don't know. We'll guess and check. think descending is, well, whatever. It looks good enough. Whatever it is, we're sorting the way that we want. A, B, C, A, B, V in this case. Cool. So what have I been saying? Acro yoga is the same as beach. So is this, make this, I don't want that fixed width. Apply max width when stretched. I don't know. Yeah, I think, because I'm just imagining it on an iPad, and like if this was like a very large button or a very long button, probably it's going to look better, I think. So let's see if that does anything. And then let's get to work on this style. Just thinking for a second how to identify one of these bad boys as like when it's selected to change the state of like the background color. Yeah, they didn't do anything for the width. Is that because, like, what if I made the width pretty small? But I allowed it to expand because the value within the field is bigger. Like acro yoga is bigger than beach. I wonder if that will do it. Nope, not even close. Okay, well, I'm going to give up on that idea of actually having these, be the exact same for now. Because recommended and all, it is very good that they are different sizes. But for the purpose of what we're doing here, okay, the minimum width, make this element fixed width. Well, either way, it's not really being responsive to the amount of text. The size is not being responsive to the amount of text within the button. So I'm not going to worry about it for now. What I am going to do is start working on the styling, and then I'm going to think through. I want to try something. I want to go down here. I want to go to responsive, and within this classes group, hello. I want to take, is this a repeating group? Where is that special magical option to add a margin collapsing? Not sure. Okay. Another thing we could do is we could just lay these across here, but I want to do it in a repeating group because they have like, a dozen different categories. We only have 4, but that's really like that's that's not exactly how it should be. And I want these to be closer to each other. And so let's see. This repeating group. A lot more than one column when stretched. All right, we're still kind of playing with. Okay, interesting. Because now it's bigger. It's doing a responsive thing. So now we've got this field became available. This field, I think, will help us manage the number, like the spacing between the things, and then also having additional things show up on the side and give us that nice, up to the nice thing of being up against the edge. So we've got that going for us. So now if I brought it down to say here, how does that affect it? Cool. Yeah, getting closer. Exactly what I'm hoping to get. Let's see. There's this HTML element that we brought into the page earlier. I'm just going to go ahead quickly and try and read my screen. Put this bad boy into here. Yep, that's what we want. Okay, so all right, I'm gonna get down to business in terms of the exact spacing. Let's get this handled. So if we hit 70, that gives us and 0 on this thing. One, I think there's the height of this. I want 0 here. I want it to be right up against that. I want the height of this to be, I think 25 is fine. I want it to be 10 over. If the height of that is 25, I will put the height of this as 30 just so I can like click around. But I think it could be the same. All right, this is doing something odd where I'm not sure. Oh, all right. So we're going to go with white as our background and dark for pretty dark for this. Define each border independently. Shadow, no, the element. Minimum width 10. Oh no, 100. Wait. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. I think this is 100 wide, 10 over. So let's get like 10 of on the other side, so like 120 for the width of this one. I think this will give us pretty close spacing between the things. Let's find out between the selector options. Yeah. Gosh, that's really close on the left. So I think we're going to put this thing out at 30. I'm also going to look on it on a few different phone sizes just to make sure I've got what I want. That did not do it. Something absurd. Maybe. Oh, wait. Sorry, I'm doing the wrong things. This. That started in the middle of the screen, you know? It doesn't. Okay, then. So. Then what I need to do is plop this thing over an extra 10. And I think that should get closer. Yeah, looking pretty good. What would happen if we put this at 0? Again, here's what we're aiming for. Pretty tight for the What if this was 5? Cannot seem to find the exact trick to getting those pulled in super close. But if we don't here in a second, I'm just going to move on. So I'm going to try one last thing. I like this. And then I'm going to give this one 5 less for the width. So it's like we've got 10 worth of spacing on the left of this and 5 here. So I think that in between each of these, that should be 15 pixels of spacing with 10 on the left to start. Okay. All right, we're going to call it good for now. Let's worry about, so we got some conditionals on this. We're going to see like when this button is hovered, when this button is pressed, when this button isn't clickable. I don't think we want that. When this button is pressed, we're not going to hover it because there's no mouse in mobile. When the button is pressed, and then also what we want when one second, I'm going to pause this and get one thing straight. Okay, so I think I've got what I know I want to do, and one of the things that I want to do is add a category for all. So that way when someone first shows up to this page, all of these show. And I have Arco Yoga. It's actually Acro, because Arco is better because R comes after L, so I could just I could continue it as alphabetical, but this is good to know anyways. How do we get all to show up first and then these ones to show alphabetical after that? Well, let's head on over here, clicking into this thing for the categories, sort by, change which field. I want to sort by name. And we might do something where, we'll see how this goes. Use one of these little cheater characters. Either put it first or last. Or second. Cool. This is not ideal, but this is what we're working with. Boy, that didn't work at all. Got it. Yeah, it just completely ignored those characters. Okay, easy. Well, not easy, but easy enough. We will also create a order number, and we will edit this so that the order is displayed here. Cool. Yeah. So you guys get where we're going with this. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really odd looking 4. 5. Okay. Now we will sort by order. Descending, no. Ascending. So the opposite of descending is no. So that should give us what we're looking for. Okay, and so what do they have to designate when something is selected here? They've got this bright pink that matches their logo. So we want to think about these cell indexes. All right, I'm going to do one more thing here where I'm going to take a little pause on my end, and I'll come back. I'm going to think about how to access the cell index, just so we don't kind of go through that here. I'll just figure it out and then be back. Okay, so all I did so far was just think a little bit ahead, just only one step ahead. What I have decided to do is add an event here when the page is loaded. So this is like when the app first loads. What I want to do is come down here, element actions. I want to set the state of the classes group. I want to create a new custom state. And I'm going to call it filter. Filter selected, that works. We're going to go with text, and we're going to create that. We're going to assign it a value of all. So what I'm doing is when the page is loaded, this app knows to set a state so that all is the thing that is like automatically selected. And apologies, 1 second for the background noise. Okay, it looks like folks have moved on. Okay. So that's that in like the background of this app right now. There, when the page is loaded, there is a state that is tied to this classes group that we just did. So that state is tied to this classes group. That state is called filter select. The value is all. And so what we're going to do is we're going to change that value depending on which one of these is clicked. So when a different one is clicked, that'll change the state from all to say acro yoga, and then we'll say, hey, take a look at the state, and when we build the rest of the page, it'll know what to display. So I hope that makes sense, and that's what we'll do, and it will make sense even more when it gets built. So here is what is going to happen. When this button is pressed, oops, I think we want it, somewhere around here. Something more of that matches the other thing. So we'll change the background color. And then we'll also, there's let's see, select property can change. When this button is pressed, what do we need to find another condition? When this button I thought there was something okay. All right, we're gonna go start with edit workflow. Okay, element actions. When that's clicked, we'll say set the state of classes group of filter selected to the current cell's name. So it'll set the state to one of these names. We have it preset as all, right? And then it'll set it to one of these other ones. So that's what we want to have happen. So that state kind of controls what's going on this classes group because it's tied to that, and then we can reference it in our, let's see, we can reference it in our repeating group that we'll build for all the classes to show. Just want to check when this is clicked. Background color. Well, now when it's clicked. So wait, what's happened here? Okay, the text goes white. But actually, when the button is pressed, background color. Huh. Because it's like when it's pressed, yes, but then when you come off of it, which is not what I want. I want it to stay that way. So I actually want to remove that, and I want to say that when when the class is, so this is a super helpful concept, this idea of state. When the classes group, when the filter selected, when this state is equal to but I only want it for that one. So current cell's index. Well, so what this statement says is that when that filter selected, when that state is one of these, which there are 5 of them, when that is true, which it's let's see, where's the background color? All right, if this doesn't work, I'll give a pause. I'll kind of figure some things out, and I'll come back to it, or come back and have the answer. Maybe. Interesting. Hey, that worked. Yes, cool. Magic. All right, little celebration, happy. Okay, but in addition to that, we also want the text to, want the text color, font color, to go to white. Yep. Are these all capital? No, they're the same. Okay. Just not a huge fan of this font. Who cares though, right? It's just a mock-up. Okay. Okay. So we've successfully designed this, and basically when one of these is clicked, the state, so when beach is clicked, what's happening again in our workflow for that current cells, the filter selected, our state, are just like a state is just a little variable, like a state you can think of as A very simple one is a light switch, on or off. Here we have like 5 options. We have, all acro yoga, whatever, but on and off of a 2-state thing, light switch is pretty good analogy. Let's go ahead with our next thing. Let's pop in a repeating group here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to give this one a name of class list repeating group. Not doing great naming things across the board, but happens. Okay, so we've got these classes. These are data type. We want to do a search for the classes where the we want to access that state. What is the name of that state? All right. You know what we're going to do here? I'm going to go ahead and delete this. We're going to call this for today. We're going to call this good for this video. What we've been able to accomplish, it was a bit of a trick because we had to work through some spacing issues. We had to work through some defining different states to get the colors right. And then in the next video, we're going to lay out all of the classes that will go along with this. I think that right now is a great time for a break. So thank you all for jumping in on this. Like or subscribe if you've enjoyed and found value from this. And we'll see you in the next video.